What's up, gamers? It's John of Video Games and the World. There have been many moral panics throughout history. A moral panic is a widespread feeling of fear that some evil person or thing threatens the values, interests, or well-being of a community or society. It is a process of arousing social concern over an issue, usually perpetuated by moral entrepreneurs and mass media coverage, and exacerbated by politicians and lawmakers. Moral panic can give rise to new laws aimed at controlling the community. Now, I'm sure that most of you watching this video have seen my video about why the anti-SJWs are worse than the SJWs themselves. If not, the link is in the description for you to watch. As you can all see, the anti-woke grifters have been causing more problems than the woke scolds have ever done in the past few years. A lot of the woke scolds' rambling seems to have died down, despite censorships occurring because of them. Because we know that woke scolds tend to complain so much about things like Catwoman's butt in Arkham City, lack of fat characters, lack of diversity in old shows and movies, etc. Most of them are petty complaints though. But now, a few days ago, I heard about this group on Steam calling themselves the Woke Content Detector. This video is where we will talk about them and how this woke panic is the new Satanic Panic. Enjoy. Why am I comparing woke panic with the Satanic Panic? Because these moral panics have certain things in common. If you do not know what the Satanic Panic was, then I will tell you what it is. The Satanic Panic was a moral panic that surfaced in the 1980s due to a series of crimes involving SRA. This panic originated with a book titled Michelle Remembers, a book co-written by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pastor and his patient, Michelle Smith, which used the controversial and now discredited practice of recovered memory therapy to make claims about satanic ritual abuse involving Smith. This moral panic was compared to blood libel, witch hunts of historical Europe, the Salem witch hunts, and McCarthyism. McCarthyism, also known as the Second Red Scare, was a political repression and persecution of left-wing individuals and a campaign spreading fear of communist and Soviet influence on American institutions and of Soviet espionage in the United States during the late 1940s through the 1950s. The people that perpetuated this type of panic would scapegoat movies, music, and other forms of entertainment of being satanic and evil. They would accuse the music genres of rock and roll, disco, and heavy metal of also being satanic because of the lyrics of the song or because of the singers and band members' certain views on religion. Examples: the Beatles, Kiss, Metallica, Black Sabbath, etc. In the case of the band Kiss, it was due to the lyrics in their songs and their makeup. In the case of the Beatles, it was due to John Lennon's "more popular than Jesus" comment in a March 1966 interview. The tabletop RPG game Dungeons & Dragons was also accused of being satanic by these ultra-conservative Christians because of the use of the words devils and demons, and also monsters with naked feminine breasts such as harpies and succubi. They will even go after other stuff like the video game Doom, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and so on. Although the Satanic Panic continues to this day, in some ways, it's not as relevant as it once was anymore. Right now, we live in the woke panic. Now, we know exactly how woke scolds be like when it comes to pointing out these social disparities where there are none.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Now, the Satanic Panic would say that Hollywood movies is made by a group of Satanists with a homosexual agenda, turning children into gays and lesbians, and try to lead people away from God. What's really funny is that with movies like Strange World, Mr. Ratburn's wedding in the Arthur cartoon, and that scene in the Buzz Lightyear movie, they say that they're trying to make children gay, and that is not true. They're just movies and shows. I've said before that I am a non-denominational Christian, and there's something I gotta say about those people. Those fanatics are more like Pharisees than Christians due to their prejudice, fanatism, and bigotry. Yeah, Pat Robertson also said the same thing about various forms of entertainment, and he even called homosexuality and transgenderism mental disorders. Someone should tell these ultra-conservative Christian fanatics that there's a major difference between sexual orientation and mental disorders. Sexual orientation is defined as a person's enduring sexual or romantic attraction to others, which can be toward the same sex, opposite sex, or multiple genders. Mental disorders are conditions that can affect thought, mood, and behavior. They may happen over a short period of time or come and go. Some can be chronic. They can affect the ability to relate to others and function each day. That's how you define sexual orientation and mental disorders.
See the difference?
A few days ago, I discovered something by watching videos of some YouTube content creators that I am subscribed to, talking about a group on Steam calling themselves the Woke Content Detector. They are a so-called group who identify whether a game has woke content or not. We all know that in channels like MTV and others, whenever there's an old school movie like the Rush Hour trilogy, Back to the Future, and many more from the 80s and 90s, they put this warning before the movie starts. Honestly, that kind of warning is pretty stupid since people are too hypersensitive with all the political correctness these days. Not even the remaster of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 were safe from this idiotic politically correct warning. When it comes to political correctness, I'd rather take the words of George Carlin and Charlton Heston for it. Getting back to the topic at hand, the Woke Content Detector has a very large list of games that they have on their recommended, informational, and not recommended list. When they recommend the games in their list, it's because the game does not have any woke content. On the recommended list, the games deemed not woke are Spyro the Dragon, Sonic Adventure DX, Far Cry 2, Mafia 2, and some of those indie war games. Sure. Real sure. When either informational or not recommended, they say it's because it has woke content such as DEI messaging, pro-LGBT messaging, climate change messaging, pro-communism/socialism messaging, pro-abortion messaging, pro-pedophilia messaging, oh my god, pro-immigration messaging, pro-transhumanism messaging, anti-capitalism, anti-heterosexual, anti-patriarchy, anti-white, anti-gun, etc. Ay, Dios mío. Esta gente, yo te digo. This is exactly why I said that woke panic is the new satanic panic. We all know that according to woke schools, everything is sexist, racist, and homophobic. To these guys, everything is woke, just like the ultra-conservative, fundamentalist Christians who say how movies, TV shows, and video games are evil and diabolical. This whole idea of detecting woke content is limiting free speech and trying to create censorship. It's bad enough that because of woke schools we had a lot of censorship, these guys are on a whole different level. Now, many of the games that they have considered not recommended because of that huge list they made over what makes a game woke are many fantastic award-winning titles and some games that I remember playing as a child and in my adolescence, in my young adult years, and other games that I played and enjoyed. This huge list is not only petty, stupid, and idiotic, it's also extremely hypocritical. For example, they got no qualms about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1 and its sequel, but it has qualms with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, all because it has a female protagonist to appease American audiences. Jesus Christ. Unsurprisingly and predictably, they labeled the Life is Strange games as woke, all because of LGBTQ romance. What the hell? Life is Strange is a great game. I laughed, cried, and enjoyed playing that game. And much love to Ashley Birch for writing episodes of the prequel and voicing Chloe as well. Other games labeled as woke are Dragon Age, Star Wars: The Old Republic, Star Ocean: The Second Story, Saga Frontier, Streets of Rage 3, Knights of the Old Republic, Dishonored, Saints Row, Mass Effect Trilogy, Mass Effect Andromeda, and not even Mortal Kombat 1 was safe in that group. Wow. Is it me or these guys hate women, LGBTQ, and BIPOC? Well, why ask a question to which I already know the answer? Which is a total yes, judging by their idiotic complaints. I'm sure that all these other games in their fucking bullshit not recommended because of woke content lists were celebrated and praised in the past before their deranged crap mentality of everything is woke and if you disagree with me, you're a woke SJW bastard took over their minds. And all of a sudden they hate it because, oh no, LGBTQ characters and messaging, anti-male messaging, anti-white messaging, climate change messaging. Oh, shut the fuck up, man. Not even games like Chrono Trigger, which is in my opinion, the greatest RPG game of all time, next to Final Fantasy VI, was safer in the stupid list. Even Phantasy Star 2 was labeled as woke because of the character of Uzbestia, who taught piano more cheaply to men because he found them cute. What's the problem? ¿Cuál es el problema? Unsurprisingly, Steven Universe Save the Light was also in that show of not recommended because of LGBTQ characters. Since the cartoon premiered in 2013 and ended in 2020, Steven Universe always had LGBTQ characters since the creator of that great cartoon, Rebecca Sugar, based it on her own experiences as a bisexual woman, and now she identifies as non-binary. Rebecca is comfortable with she, her, or they, them pronouns, as far as I know. And since I mentioned Steven Universe, these guys are playing with fire knowing the fandom of that show. Yeah, I remember that incident on Tumblr almost a decade ago, which got me pissed off at those people sending Sammy070 death threats over her fanfic. I remember that too well. This group is a bunch of blatantly bigoted, stupid, petty, idiotic, embarrassing, bullshit con artist adult babies who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, since everything is so woke to them. You know what I think?
If I had a quarter for every time I heard that since you learned to talk, I'd have a private jet on 24-hour standby.
That's what's up. If I indeed had a quarter for every time I hear them say, I don't like this movie, video game, comic, or TV show because it's woke, I'd be rich and have a private jet on 24-hour standby. Like I said in my last video on how the anti-SJWs are a lot worse than the SJWs themselves, these grifters are a lot worse than the SJWs. Now, this anti-woke group on Steam say that everything is so political is due to them protesting politics that they do not like. I saw this very interesting video about people crying about politics in cinema, and as he said, they're only protesting the politics that they don't like. This video was really good, and I highly recommend you people watching it. Link in the description. It's very tragic how this culture war has damaged how we watch movies and shows, how we play video games, how we read comics and other literature, and also music as well. It's very sad how people are so miserable that they don't want to enjoy something and instead complain about stupid things in the movie, show, game, comic, and novel where there is none. The culture war with these woke skulls and the anti-woke has simply killed criticism of something. I miss the days where you criticize a form of entertainment by pointing out the good, the bad, and the flaws when it comes to writing, character development, plot, you know, all that stuff. If any form of entertainment is bad, I would say that it's due to bad writing, bad acting, bad character development, bad gameplay, and so on. And to these people, I will say, politics are a part of entertainment since it reflects the real world. Art is subjective, and politics are always included. Left wing, right wing, what difference does it make? Or even center as well. If you think it's either woke or problematic, then don't watch or play, and stop trying to prevent people from doing So, all because you're offended by the inclusion of demographics, the crude jokes, the sexual content, and certain messaging as well. And that's all I gotta say. This is John of Video Games in the World, signing off. Have a good one.